Alright, we're here with Rhys the Redeemed. This is certainly one of my favorite commanders. I've never played it before, because I didn't really have any cards that I liked that I think really need to go in it, but now that I do, I want to play it. Um, I hadn't crafted this many cards in a long time. I crafted a boatload. I crafted the new O'Hare, or the white one, that triples your token generation. Um, I crafted the other thing that doubles it, not doubling season. There's a different one. I've crafted just everything, like anything that's like good and Riz redeemed token related. I basically had to craft it for this deck. Um, Even this card. So this card is huge. I've never seen it in play ever, but it seems like it's insane, right? You just have even just 3 or 4 tokens, and suddenly this not only paid for itself immediately, you can just explode into like a Craterhoof Behemoth on turn like 5. Seems insane. In fact, that seems so crazy, I'm running this one as well. It does essentially the same thing, just not as long. It just kind of, it goes away eventually. Also, what's really nice about these cards is it has, it's like Convoke, where I can tap my creatures not necessarily inside of combat if, let's say, I can't attack for whatever reason. It lets me tap my stuff so I can use it towards Halo Fountain. I don't imagine I'll ever win with Halo Fountain, but I'll be damned if I don't try. This is the dream win, right? You just untap 15 creatures. It seems very difficult, but if you get to 15 creatures, all you need to do is play this, right? And then something like Cryptolith Rite instantly wins because you can tap all your creatures using this. With that being said, I also want to win with this card at least once. I actually won with this in draft. The only reason I own a copy is because I pulled it in a draft. I don't know why. I think it might have been like one of the last cards in the draft because it's just kind of bad in draft, but I have one now, and it seems on theme, right? You just untap stuff, and this is kind of like I think like a 5 or 6 turn clock. It's 1,000 counters. It sounds crazy, but you can really get there within like 5 turns, especially if you have a ton of tokens. Now, if we ever get hit by a sweeper, we're going to feel really bad, right? Every deck kind of has a weakness, right? Except, I guess, the best of them. But we're down here in the gutter. I don't imagine we're ever coming out of getting hit by a board wipe if it's too late in the game, and I don't have Heroic Intervention or the other one. I don't know. No, I'm not running Teferi's Protection, right? Yeah, I'm not running that one, and I'm not running the other Teferi's Protection, the 3-mana white spell that gives them Vigilance and Indestructible and +1/+1 or whatever. Not running that one either. I think it's just Intervention. If I am getting hosed, I could definitely drop like Giver of Runes for another mass protection spell, if that feels like an issue, and I anticipate it probably will. Depends, right? There are a lot of creature-centric decks, more so than I'm used to lately, whether that's because Dinosaurs is more popular or whatever. There seems to be less mass removal. It's just slightly. That's just, again, it could just be wherever I've been placed in this bracket system that is invisible to me, so I don't actually know. If Riz Redeemed is paired against crazy stuff, then rip, it is what it is. I don't think it is, but yeah, other than that, everything is just token-centric. We have Convoke spells, we have ways to find Craterhoof, we have the weird slow Gaia's Cradle thing here, mini cute token generators here, token pump spells. It's just token related stuff. Very straightforward. I'm sure there's a couple cards that I may have glossed over and I didn't put them in here, but this is what I owned and this is what I thought was worth crafting. Same with the Virtue, actually. I'll bring that one up too. This one was another one that I had to craft, and this one feels really, really good. This is at 5 mana, which is very good. It's actually like it's a 5-drop for a 5-drop. Alright, yeah, so we took out Vivian Reed for Cathar's Crusade. I was talking about this card just a second ago, and I realized it probably makes a ton of sense to be in here, so it is. So, enough rambling. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's see how we do. Yep, whatever. It's just dumb. That's dumb. I had such an excellent thing, and then they had probably the only card in their deck that like gets around this in the form of the Kiora, because it taps everything down. I mean, this does too, kind of, but it not really, because I can still make an army of 1/1s. Oh look, it's a sweeper. What a surprise. Unless we have Farewell as well. We do! We also have Farewell. So interesting. Wow. Yep, like I said, complete dumbness. It just doesn't make sense. I should scoop when I play the first sliver. It's just so stupid. Like, look at this. They had Indestructible. They just had, and we're back to the first sliver. And we're just right back to it. Yep, that's what we're doing. Right back to the first sliver, ladies and gentlemen. Of course. I'm not going to waste my time. Right back to it. Yep, you got it. Imagine I did win that game, though. If I won that Elish Norn game, I would have had like a 20... Actually, shit, that would have been like an hour-long win, and then a 5-second loss right next to it. The first sliver again! Okay, so I don't know if there's a bias here. Feels like there kind of is. Maybe I'm getting unlucky. I must be just be getting unlucky. It's not that big of a deal, I can concede, but... If it does pit Rhys the Redeemed specifically against decks that have sweepers, then it's kind of pointless to play Rhys the Redeemed, but I don't think that's what Wizards is doing. I'm just getting unlucky. 3 or more creatures, sacrifice this. Come on, why does this card exist? Why does it exist? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, there's nothing I can do. So I can make a 4/4, but again, I'm just going to play my 18/18 because my opponent literally gets a 3-mana Tooth and Nail, or a 4-mana Tooth and Nail. I don't know, again, the best cards in their deck. Elish Norn. Alright, so there's no winning. Yep, it's just dumb. Defense of the Heart is a stupid card. It's so... Like, I don't know what to say. I didn't have an answer to it, and the game's over. What am I supposed to do? My opponents just always have the perfect answer. I can't stop it. There's nothing I can do. Farewell. Like, I can't even get the enchantments in play. The first sliver is just so dumb. It's so stupid. I cannot beat it with Rhys the Redeem. Like, I even had a second wave of threat, and they just had an even better answer the next go-round. Like, it's a complete joke. It's just such a joke matchup. It's really sad. And of course, it's like the most prolific. I think half of my games today have been against the first sliver. There's not really anything I can do about that. Half of my games have had Giver runes too. This has been weird. It's been a very strange day. I've had like the same 20 cards every game. Like it's so weird. It's so weird to me. I've had the same cards every game. That's interesting. Okay, so let's play you. Stay on curve. Again, no real reason to play the first... no, the first sliver. I mean, Rhys the Redeemed. It's not actually doing anything. Okay, so now I'll play Rhys and probably end up swordsing their commander. Because this commander is obviously insane. And there's a huge tempo loss when you deal with it. Alright, wasn't expecting that, not gonna lie. Oh, they had a mana dork. Alright, that's unfortunate. Well, they've got the old go very tall thing going for them. I think I will just swords this now. Stop that from running away with the game. I'm getting the same 20 cards! I'm getting the same 20 cards! What is happening? What is actually happening? I'm losing my mind. I'm getting the same cards, dude. That is so funny. Did this give trample? No, I don't think that gives trample. Probably still in a horrendously bad spot, but like... Okay, I guess. Nothing they have inherently has trample, so... I'm not like super scared, but I'm still kind of spooked. Alright, what do you got? I mean, I don't know. It's the old tall versus wide thing. Sure. They can pay twice. You got it. I don't know why they're mousing over my cards. That doesn't really help you, buddy. Alright, so they have a colossal board, because of course they do. But again, it doesn't necessarily have trample. But I will be in Chump Block City. Alright, so let's make a ton of 4/4s, which, again, aren't actually good enough. But, that's what I got, so that's what I'm going to use. So next turn I can start doubling. Rhys the Redeem. Ajani does make 3 4/4s a turn, which doesn't keep up with my opponent's board size. I don't know what they're doing that's so thought-provoking. Yeah, I don't know why that's... It's not rocket science here. Okay, so let's do this, and then let's chump and chump, and I'm taking 17. Okay, well, I'm making 3 of these a turn, and then I can double it with Rhys. So maybe I can start to outpace them by chump blocking more than they're swinging with. But it's a matter of trying to figure out how to turn this game around here. I don't really know what that looks like. Oh, you know what? I probably should have targeted one of my angel tokens. Doing that. So block here. Here. Do I chump block or do I trade? I should probably just chump block because I can't lose all my tokens. Yeah, I should have given a token protection and just let the champion die, so I now would have 4 tokens, and then I could double the 4, yada yada yada. So that was a bit of a mistake. Alright, well, I literally can't do anything this turn except this, so... swinging doesn't actually do anything. Oh, I messed it up. I forgot the Ajani emblem. Oh, I messed it up. It's fine. It's fine. Obviously, I'm still pulling ahead with the amount of blockers I have. But the problem is, I don't know how to kill my opponent, because they're at an infinite... They have basically infinite life. I don't think I can do enough damage. However, what I can do is... Actually, you know what? I'm not sure what this looks like in the end. I'm actually not sure what this looks like. We're going to find out. So let's do this. Green. Here, 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 here. Like that. So what's going to happen is my opponent probably will find Craterhoof Behemoth and kill me before I'm able to do anything. But let's say they don't. I do not have Hornet Queen to go find with this. That's something to take note of. My opponent doesn't have reach, right? Because I might as well attack just to send a message. Oh, right, I forgot that was a thing. Okay, so there was a reason to attack at least once. I forgot about this. I'm not paying attention to my cards. Yeah, but now we can start doubling and... I mean, you know, there's a chance 250... Alright, never mind. I was going to say 250 angels could do something, but obviously not anymore. Opponent has Elish Norn right off the top. Perfect 7 mana. Of course they do. Why wouldn't they? So losing access to my commander means I cannot spam angel tokens enough to come out of this. So I have to Court of Calling some kind of answer to Elish Norn to continue this game. Don't really know what that looks like, but whatever. Yeah, that was an unbelievable draw. Actually unbelievable. Probably, again, the only card in my opponent's entire deck that does anything. Of course they have it. Okay, so Tooth and Nail. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do not have 9 mana because, of course, I don't. Go to my opponent's next turn and try to cord for something large. Sure, that doesn't actually change anything. Oh, yes, it does. That has trample. That does change something. Okay. So that does change something. Let us see what happens. Yeah, that actually has trample. So now I am just dead. It is a 38. Okay, so let's... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I should have tapped another thing to pay for that, but that's fine. Oh, wait, no, I could never pay for that. I'd have to pay 10,000. So Craterhoof lets me block. This triples my creatures, but they don't do anything. Again, I gotta make sure whatever I play actually doesn't die to Elish Norn. I think the only thing I can do is cast this. Yeah, which wouldn't have killed my opponent, mind you, even if I did it on my turn. Wouldn't have come even close. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Please get off my screen. And then I chump there. I guess I chump with Craterhoof because it doesn't actually do anything anymore. But Vorinclex has to die, so they no longer have trample. But again, this doesn't necessarily get me out of this. I think I'm just dead. Probably can just concede at this point. I'm not sure there's any card in my deck that does anything. So that doubles my Ajani tokens, so we can go back to safely chump block spamming. That's notable. Can't play Rhys. No reason to swing. But yeah, 6 2/2s. My opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They have 8 attackers. So I guess if we sit at parity, I can maybe come out of this. But again, I have to stay at parity with my opponent. It doesn't seem like it's possible. But I am essentially making 8 blockers for their 8 attackers every turn. So we are at parity. Opponent's still going to make me block. My opponent kind of has to make me do the blocking, because if they don't, I actually start to cascade. Like, my tokens don't just die for the turn. Yeah, I think we're just waiting out a storm of trample. Opponent's at 6,800 life. The Seiju, does that change anything? It does not. Gives me Tooth and Nail, I guess. Does it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It does give me Tooth and Nail and Twine. So again, we're looking for cards that don't die to Elish Norn. This is really good, and I guess this? Oh, wait a minute. If they don't answer Elish Norn... Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on a second. Wait 1 second there. If they don't answer this card, I am kind of fine, right? I make 18 because I put the O'Hare in play. But if they don't have an answer right now to Elish Norn, when it flips, I am in an insane spot. Okay, creatures with counters have first strike, notably not trample. Okay, this doesn't change anything. Okay, so 1, 2, 4. Okay. Is there a life cap? Is it just 99999? Is there actually a life cap? I've never seen it. No, there isn't. It went into the quad digits. It actually did. Look at that. That's right. You take your damage. Yeah, that's right. Take your medicine. Yes. Yes. What is happening? Okay. So I flip this, and when it flips, I hose the board. If my opponent does not answer this card, I hose the board. This is very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Yep. Opponent has 25,000 counters on Ozolith. Yeah, because all my tokens, they're not angels because I lost my card. Man, that sucks. That's stupid. I thought I had it. Wait a minute. That's why. That's why. It's because Elishnorn's a Phyrexian, and she can't kill herself. Okay, Adeline is disgusting. A turn 2 Adeline is even grosser. It means I have to play my commander turn 1, though. So Mox Amber works, but that obviously is fine. It just means no Giver of Runes is what it is. Should I? I mean, I should. If my opponent doesn't have an answer to this, it's insane. But I can see a complete reasonable argument that I should lead on this Giver of Runes. I think this is an argument I should lead on Giver. This is mono black. It just seems absolutely insane to not do this, so... Like, how do I get away with... there's like 15 2-mana removal spells. It just seems like a horrendously bad idea to let myself get hit by all of those in a very vulnerable fashion. Okay, we both got a token generator. My tokens are a bit scarier, but theirs do fly. Alright, there goes our Giver of Runes, I guess. This is non-creature? That's annoying. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to lose my Primal Vigor. I assume. I haven't really put one of these in play yet, which doesn't really surprise me. My opponent just left me with one, so I believe there's an answer to the board. Doesn't make sense to not take this. Actually, it seems completely insane to me to just not take this card. So there must be a bunch of removal or maybe a board wipe. Oh, look, it's the new 2-mana removal spell. Who would have guessed? Raven Man, sure. That is another one. These go really nice in tandem with one another. I think I'll play this one because it makes it so the Skrelv's Hive makes 4/4s, and that seems pretty reasonable. Man, they just straight block that. Alright, at this point, having enchantment-based threats is very strong against mono black. This could be extremely difficult to come out of. We're both losing one thing a turn. This works for your opponent, so they're getting two fairies a turn, which does kind of mean they can block for a while, but that doesn't matter too much because I get a million angels. Okay, so I'll definitely double my angel count next turn instead of playing this. Yeah, just gonna make a bunch of angels, I think. Opponent really needs a sweeper. Alright. This is almost lethal. Oh, I can't play it. I got excited. I can't play that. That would have been funny. Is this lethal? No, I think it's like, what, 20? Oh, it is lethal. Okay, it is lethal. Yeah. That's really nice. Look at that. Actually activated Rhys. Yeah, all of my threat, like, my entire threatening presence was enchantments. Like, if this died, I was still completely fine, because this just sits here and does this. My opponent's making 2 chump blockers a turn, obviously. Does not keep up with making 2 4/4s a turn. That's really nice. But yeah, this would make a... I think this would make a 2/2? No, it would make no, it would make an angel. All tokens are just angels, so this would just make an angel. All right, then not really exciting. It would make two angels, I guess, but okay. If our commander lives, there's actually a pretty good hand. Just has to like live. I'm gonna play this now because if they have spell pierce, I'd rather not get spell pierced because I don't have many things that are spell pierceable. Yep, let's play this. It lets me kind of locks it on. I think that's fine. That was a profoundly good draw. Don't hate that one. You know what? Sure. It's a weird brainstorm. Very strange. They're gonna draw probably every card off the brainstorm unless they have like Fabled Passage or something. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that brainstorm right there. I'm very nitpicky with my brainstorms. Okay. Sure. They need Metalcraft, though. Do I play Trosani? I think I do. Like, you have to counter this or you're just kind of screwed. They did not counter it. This is really bad for my opponent. Yeah, I don't even know what they could possibly do now. Land, Artifact, River's Rebuke, extra turn with a land, the One Ring, sure, that doesn't save them though. They can't really tap it, I should say. I mean, it does save them, it does. Just you can't really... Okay, my opponent did tap it. That's kind of interesting. Yep. Got none. I can activate Rhys to copy all these tokens. Obviously, it's a bit overkill, but... Do we have the River's Rebuke? Not necessarily. This could be an extra turn. No, I think you wanted to tap the ring before you just played a Cold Steel Heart for no reason. Yeah, okay. My opponent made... That made no sense. Like, you want to just tap the One Ring before you just cast this. It comes in tapped, and it doesn't do you any good. You need to survive. Playing this does stone cold nothing. Imagine they just tapped one and found River's Rebuke still. This would be untap. Tap it to activate. You have 6. You could have just found River's Rebuke. You could have found an extra turn in Time Walk or Time Warp, whatever it's called. There's plenty of things you could have done. Cyclonic Rift? No, you'd need another land somehow. But yeah, that just didn't make sense. But all right. Again with the expensive hand. I don't think we can do that. Okay. Sure, maybe we get there, maybe we don't. Luris, huh? Esper Sentinel. Oh, you fool. That probably won't really do much. Let's play you. Actually, my whole hand is non-creature, but I can kind of just pay for Esper Sentinel pretty easily. Alright, yep, let's play you. Make it 3/3, no swingies. Do we have repeating life gain is the question. Do we have repeating life gain? Alright, this is another person who kills Rhys when I feel like it doesn't make too much sense to do so. We found it. Oh my goodness, we did find it. Alright, decline that. We found the thing that gives me a ton of mana. So let's do this. Pay for that. And then let's play you. And then swing. Until end of turn. Okay. Witch's Oven. Oh, right, because you have Luris. Still kind of a steep ask there. A Johnny again. Good lord. Okay, you and I guess you. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I do not have that. Let's go to combat. Yeah, let's go to combat. Let's do this. I guess I can swing with this as well. And then I play Rhys, or do I play a Johnny? Feels kind of weird to play a Johnny now, actually. I think I'm going to still play a Johnny. Yeah, that was kind of an odd sequence there. I kind of missed. I should have played this pre-combat. But I didn't. Could have got in for more damage. Damage. Okay, they just make a food token. They sack the food token? Oh, just to explore, huh? That feels kind of odd. Alright, yep, it's just too much for my opponents to deal with. Again, they don't have, like, sweepers. My opponent's trying to play to the board. There is no way ever this would ever get to 20, so I'm not going to worry about that. But the fact that they didn't have repeating life gain from, like, a Soul Warden or something means that this isn't going to make it impossible to swing. I would have won if I avoided the Mana Tithe. I would have won if I avoided the Demolition Field and Field of Ruin. I would have won if I avoided a sweeper on the last possible turn. How many creatures you need? 4? Okay, so land, please. Actually, I don't necessarily need a land. I can do Rhys, Militia Captain. So that's fine. Does my opponent block, do we wonder? Probably not. Probably not. I'm going to swing anyways, I don't care. You could say this deck is slightly too expensive, but that doesn't... My early game, I don't need much in the early game to, like, have that not matter too much. Like, I don't necessarily have to race to my 5-drops. Right? Like, look at my board state. It's kind of fine. I don't really need more. This Militia Captain is going to transform, too. Like, this is all just totally fine to me. And we are actually finally against a deck that does not run a bunch of board wipes, which is pretty useful. Okay. Again, someone killing the wrong creature. You need to kill the Militia Captain there. This making 1/1s is not relevant. I don't have 6 mana to double my creatures. You need to kill the captain. But opponent does not. Okay, so do I play this, or do I play one of these? I guess I'll play this. They're all kind of the same, sort of. I don't know. It's on my opponent to stabilize anyways, so it doesn't matter too much what I do. This does require mana, like a mana investment, whereas these don't. That is notable. Okay, so at least Dinosaurus doesn't run sweepers, which is nice. Hey, they're running the Thunder Herd. That's funny. Opponent didn't get the memo. I don't think you should play this card. Or if you're going to, you already have to be playing every single ramp spell before you play this one. And I don't think that's reasonable, right? Because then you're playing... Like, now we know our opponent's running, like, 45 ramp spells or something. Because this is not in the first 20 options. As we had discovered. As we had parsed out with our brains. Okay, so Skrelv's Hive. And then I play... I'll just make a token at some point. Let us swing with just this. This can't block, so swing, swing... They go to 1. Okay, I'm not going to swing. This puts them to 1 if they don't block the 6/6. Alright, they don't. Oh, they do. Okay. They use their second blocker. I didn't put the Mana Dork in the math of what my blocks look like. But I want to make a 2/2 elf here. Okay, well, we just saw that card a second ago. Yeah, they just want to run the funny dinosaur card. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Okay, there goes that. Sure. Has my opponent stabilized? They found Cloud Shift. Okay, that doesn't actually do anything because you already played a dinosaur. They find a weird Fiend Hunter. Exile 1 creature until this leaves the battlefield. So yeah, I lost my token generator. Now they're swinging. Alright, so opponent looks like they've stabilized, maybe. I don't know if I can get through now. Elish Norn might just make that a incorrect assessment. I'm going to snap cast this here. So swing, they can't necessarily block because they have to pay 2, otherwise they take 2. So they just have to basically take it all. Nope, you can't do this, opponent. Elishnorn kills you. No, you'll take 8. They didn't know. Oh no. That's why you play it. Oh no! Oh no! They were not dead if they blocked differently. They just didn't read it. Oh no! Okay, so let's say they blocked the right way. This is horrible. Whether it's because of my iteration of it or just Rhys in general, it was absolutely horrible. It's one of my favorite commanders. I had high hopes for it, but there's certainly a reason why I never ever see it. Right? You lose the game when your opponent has a board wipe, and there are a fair amount of those. I anticipated less than I had bumped into, but there were a lot more than I had anticipated. Some of the creature-only decks, or like creature-heavy decks, are also a little bit of a problem, because they can just kill you before you start going crazy. So even in a matchup where there isn't much interaction, I still found myself basically behind quite often. I can change the mana curve, take out a lot of the 5s, and maybe even some of the 4s, and make it lower to the ground. Can maybe find Idyllic Tutor, like stuff like that, to find Cryptolith right, and then start casting things much faster, right? Just Idyllic Tutor into this, into a bunch of creature tokens, into a bunch of slightly larger things or something like that, but this becomes less powerful when you take out the big things in your deck, right? Take out all of this, and suddenly this becomes less relevant because my curve is much lower and I don't need that much mana. There aren't many mana sinks, right? So I'm not using all that mana into any one specific card, so taking out some of the big stuff makes it even less relevant. And some of the quote-unquote mana sinks already have Convoke, right? So this means when I go to cast this, all of my creatures tap for mana anyways. So this doesn't actually help with Convoke spells specifically, because they're already tapping for mana. I never found a spot for this card, actually. It's kind of funny. The Beasts, I felt maybe, oh, it was relevant. You know, it's 5. It's a solid card. But no, it never actually came up. Every single time I had played Primal Vigor, my opponent wound up making more tokens than I did. Now, I think that's just happenstance, but I think that happened both times. I cast this twice, and my opponent in both scenarios was the one to double things. I did have things to double myself, but we were kind of at parity because my opponent was doubling things as well. But obviously, on average, that is not going to happen. I just got unlucky, I would assume. I think so, yeah. I'm pretty confident I was just unlucky with that specifically. The Calendar and Halo Fountain are incredibly slow and incredibly difficult. I thought it would be fun to try them. I got super close to a Halo Fountain win. In fact, I would have won had I untapped. I just needed to get to my turn. I had the right in hand. I had the creature count. I just needed to get to my turn, but my opponent top decked a board wipe and then won. So, yeah. This didn't do anything, right? It's specifically soldiers, so it is reliant on itself way more than the rest of your deck to get this going, but you can get soldiers through other cards in the deck, right? Like this. So it just never happened. This is probably better off as Boromir. At this point, I would basically take out everything that wasn't incredibly useful and just add all the protection spells ever. Teferi's Protection, that other green one, or excuse me, the other 3-mana white one, and just run all of those. I'm not going to do it right now, but the list I upload will certainly have those in it because as it stood, it was just really not great. The incidental token generators like this never really felt exciting. I mean, I still kind of like this, but for 3 mana, I think my turn should be more impactful. I mean, let's be real, Halo Fountain should not be in here, nor should the Millennium counter. I got to like 100 counters, and then my opponent had Kolaghan's Command, so it killed this and I think my commander, so it was absolutely backbreaking. But yeah, it's obviously extremely slow. I'm not spearheaded into that specific card, so it's hard to get it to actually win the game. Another thing is you need to actually tap your creatures to race the counters. And if you cannot swing because your opponent has a good blocker or something, then you're losing half of the value in those cards anyways. What else felt not great? Where's that thing? This thing is like Exalted, right? It gives all of your other creatures Exalted when it attacks, essentially, which I thought was pretty cool. And is also kind of a mana sink, making 1/1s that have lifelink. You know, a little value there. But never came up. I was never in a spot where I felt like I had 5 mana to just spend on doing this. And I never really had a big board with this in play where I could also just swing with just this card and be happy I did that, right? It kind of goes a little against the go wide strategy when you have a wide board and then you turn it into a tall board, right? Oh, I'll swing for 18, then your opponent casts a removal spell, takes no damage, and all of your creatures are tapped anyways. So I don't really like this card. It did not impress me, really at all. What else was not too exciting? This too, I never unfortunately got to this, but I still kind of like it, right? I did have a little light, I was a little light on the creature count, but that wasn't too big of a deal. If I ever came to flip this, it was kind of fine. Like, I really liked it. Even the front side is fine. If you have any doubler, you get 2 of the tokens up front, right? It's just solid. I don't hate it. I don't think I'm done with that card. Gargaroth feels a little out of place, though, not going to lie. What else didn't feel really useful at all? No, that's about... I mean, Myrel didn't feel useful, so this should probably be Boromir, just for another layer of protection for your stuff. Yeah, that should just be Boromir. I was not impressed with it as that card specifically. I got to a Johnny twice. I ultimated it once, and then the second time it was at 7, and I would have ultimated it, but then I got hit by a sweeper and died anyways. But it was actually pretty reliable to get to the sweeper. I do a decent job at protecting this, and this ultimate is pretty good. Basri Ket is another one. I don't actually own that card. It's a 3 mana Planeswalker, which is actually pretty significant when you have all these 1 mana dorks, right? It does something similar to a Johnny, and I do like that one as well. So if you have that card, I would maybe recommend it. Maybe I'll just put it in the list that I upload. I don't necessarily have to have it crafted, right? What else felt really not exciting? I never got to this. I think I played it, and then I died. Like, I had an 18-18, and my opponent... Oh, that was it. I had this in play, and my opponent had that enchantment that you sacrifice. If your opponent has 3 or more creatures, you get a tooth and nail for just 4 mana. They had that, so this just didn't do anything. Because my opponent could just get turn 4 Ulamog, Elishnorn, and I lose. Yeah, the overall, though, other than just talking about specific cards, I was weak to so many sweepers. I had to basically start to auto-concede if I saw the first sliver, because no matter what happened, my opponent was basically guaranteed to get to the first sliver. I'm never really going to kill them before that, and once they get to that point, it is incredibly easy for them to find any sweeper. They're running like 12 sometimes. It's like 8 to 12 board wipes. Very easy. You have to whiff the first sliver hitting a sweeper itself on the cascade, and then you have to like hope you can not only swing past the 5 mana 7/7 sitting there, you have to dodge whatever else is going on, right? It's just way too difficult to deal with the first sliver. And I just happen to have played about 50% of my games were against the first sliver. And at the second half of that, I just started to auto-concede because I can't win. And it's like an 80-20 in favor of first sliver. It did not feel like I had a chance at all. I was not pressuring fast enough. And so, yeah. So like I said at the beginning, it depends what you're up against. And if you're going to be paired against the first sliver a lot, which, it's a little bit of it's only been 2 hours. I don't know how much I was actually, the rate in which I would see the first sliver. But if it is about even 30% of your games. Let's say it wasn't as crazy as 50 like mine was just now. This is just not a good strategy. It just isn't. You don't have the time. You do not have the time to get going. You really don't. Even with the best possible scenario, your best one, your best two, three, four, five, it just never felt like I was in a good spot. The best positions I ever found myself in were the ones where it was all like enchantment based, right? I had Cathar's Crusade, Divine Visitation in play, and then like a Skrelv's Hive or something sitting there where my opponent can sweep the board over and over, but I have enchantments sitting there creating the threat that they don't have an answer to because all of their answers are sweepers. That was the best scenario I was in. So much so that I'll probably put Idyllic Tutor in here because the enchantments were the strongest portion of the deck. Because again, you got to avoid the sweepers. And there are a lot out there. Way more than I had initially anticipated. So I do not recommend this commander at all. There's probably slightly better token strategies. Like Mondrak is just good. You're in mono white too, so your deck is a lot more smooth. You're just one color, you don't have to worry about all that weird stuff going on. I didn't have Hornet Queen. It probably would have helped me in maybe one or two of those games, but the 1/1 flying death touch creatures aren't huge, and they still die to board wipes. And that isn't it. Would Hornet Queen's a 7-drop, right? It's not helping me develop in the early game, right? It's just so hard. It's so hard to get this to work, so I just don't recommend it. At least in the iteration I had built it. But I'll still tweak it a little and upload a list if you're curious. But yep. Let me know what you thought about Rhys the Redeemed. If you have ideas to make it better, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.